Toadettes and everyone else.
What is up, my Digi-dudes?
My Digi-dudes. All the Toads, Toadettes, and Toadsworths out there. We love you.
Okay. Welcome back to Two Gays and a Digimon podcast.
I didn't realize we were starting for real. I thought we were doing another mic check.
Today we are continuing our coverage of Digimon Adventure 02.
Mm-hmm. Episode 31.
Episodes 31 to 33.
Yeah.
It's a nice set of numbers right there.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that much is like over halfway through the season, doesn't it?
We are. There's like only 50-something episodes. I think maybe 52.
That's crazy to think about.
Let me do some research on the pod real quick. Doing some research on the podcast. We've been gone for a while because both of us have gay jobs.
Yeah.
You heard gay jobs. And it's happy Primus.
It is. It's the end of Primus.
It's the end of Primus.
And I'm ready for July, which is Gay Sloth.
I think July is Gay Wrath.
I think it's...
I don't think so. It's not the pressure on her.
Okay, that's fair.
There are 50 episodes of this season. 50.
Oh, okay.
So we are over halfway through.
Yeah, wow.
And where we last left off is that BlackWarGreymon used 100 control spires to summon BlackWarGreymon to destroy the Digidestined.
And he's like the biggest of the baddest.
And he'd be doing that. Yeah, he kicked all their butts and then decided that he doesn't listen to BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah.
She's weaker than him, so he's gonna go off and find his true purpose.
BlackWarGreymon, easily the most emo of all the Digimon.
The most emo Digimon we've met so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on my room, Mom! Him and BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah, him and BlackWarGreymon. So we start off with a spooky this is episode 31, called Opposites Attract in the English dub, or Sylphimon, Storm of Love, which I wonder who we're going to meet in this episode.
Probably Storm of Lovemon.
I want to know why they didn't just keep the episode title Storm of Love.
Yeah, I don't know, that's pretty cool.
Or Storm of Light. Because light plays a part in this episode.
It does. A crest roll.
So we're in a spooky forest, and all of the local Digimon are afraid of BlackWarGreymon. He's making his way through.
Which, I feel like every forest in the digital world is like kind of spooky for some reason.
Well, they definitely, because a lot of the forests that we saw in the first adventure were like bright watercolors.
Yeah. This
one is like only like greens, grays, and browns.
Yeah.
And like it's definitely got a very hazy, like foggy, misty vibe.
It's not a jungle, it's a forest.
Yeah. Because continuing with our like theme that we kind of noticed this season is that we're visiting a lot of different biomes in the digital world. So.
Yeah, which I think has helped giving it. It already had a great sense of like being expansive.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things 01 did really well. But it's nice to see them continue with that.
If you hear any background noise, we're recording in our living room today, which is not our usual recording spot because it's hot out, and we have air conditioning in this room.
Yeah.
So you might be hearing our air conditioner or our delightful cats.
Yeah, we also have two daughters in this room who like to solemnly scratch the scratch post that they never play with. So that's camp.
Yeah.
They probably won't even be able to hear it. So the cats are very cute.
Anyway, we see that they're all afraid of BlackWarGreymon, including a hilarious bit that we had to add with Kawagamon. Being like, you can't see me, you can't, oh my god.
And BlackWarGreymon doesn't really seem to care. He kind of just walks past them all.
Well, he's like, these are all weaklings. They're not in my way.
Yeah.
I don't need to fight them because they're weaker than me.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, interesting. He's not just like a blood-thirsty Digimon.
Yeah, he's seeking like a challenge or like purpose.
Which, I mean, I like BlackWarGreymon as a character. I think he adds something to the cast of adventure that I think that they thought they were adding with Ken. But for me, I found a lot of Ken's angst to be kind of annoying.
Yeah. So, a lot of Ken's angst is like, I'm angsty, but I guess BlackWarGreymon is also like I'm angsty, but I don't know why I'm angsty.
But I think the quest for purpose in life is more relatable longer term than the I did bad things in my past and now I have to figure out how I can atone for them.
Yeah.
But we don't even really see like Ken doing anything to atone for them. Like, he always is like late to join up with the Digidestined. He's always like, I'm kind of like disappointed that we've moved on from the Reconstruction era of the digital world to...
Yeah, we kind of shifted out of that real quick.
To now we have to defeat Arukenimon and now BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah, I could use a bit more of a buffer.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing to see, because I was actually discussing this online in a Facebook group today, that a lot of the writing choices of 02 I find very bizarre. And it's not like the dub-isms, like the inserting the jokes I find to be kind of annoying sometimes. Like, but it's not the end of the world for me. I think sometimes we need a little bit of levity, can't be serious all the time. But I also find that the writing decisions of the pacing of the story, I think, is really off.
Yeah, I think so too. I had that issue with the Ken arc too, because remember, it felt like the Ken arc was going to end, and it was on episode 13, and instead the Ken arc ended on 24.
They spent so much time with Ken as the Digimon Emperor, and then we were obviously he was the most exciting villain so far because it was the first time they fought a human.
Yeah, but I felt like there was like a build up to where it seemed that they were going to fight him. And then instead of fighting him, all of a sudden they were just destroying spires again for like 8 episodes.
I know
there was like a weird gap.
Like a thing in this kind of media, like I know, like in Power Rangers, there's always, or like the Sentai, the Tokusatsu stuff that Power Rangers is based off of. There's always like a 6th Ranger that comes in later, and we kind of we got that in the first season with Kari.
Yeah,
but I thought Kari's introduction was much more well paced.
Yeah.
And had much higher stakes, because, like, Ken was the first antagonist. I still think that we should just be getting Ken back now.
Yeah.
Like, we could take time for him to, like, rekindle his relationship with Wormmon, and, like, he doesn't know if he wants to, like, go back and fight evil. Like, how can he fight evil in the digital world when he was evil in the digital world? Like, I want some more moral questioning from Ken, if that's what role they're going to take with him. Because right now, he kind of just is part of the team, but refuses to be part of the team. Which is very annoying.
Yeah, it's irritating.
So,
let's jump back into the plot, though.
Yeah. So, we have Mom and Dad, which is what I call Arukenimon and Mummymon in my notes.
We have Mummymon being such a bottom.
Oh, I mean, he simps for Arukenimon, and
he's like, please let me be your slave, and like stuff like that. I'm like,
she's girl boss. Like, yeah. I love Arukenimon. I think she's a great villain. I do definitely think that they are a response to the success of Team Rocket in the Pokemon anime.
Oh yeah, you're so right, actually.
Because we had Edamon in the first season, who was very goofy, but still like terrifying at the end of the day. Where like Arukenimon and Mummymon are creepy, especially when they transform into their like Digimon forms. Mm-hmm. But like they're also super funny, and like they're definitely written for like all these like kind of more crass jokes that, like, your dad is supposed to laugh at on Saturday morning cartoon.
You're also not usually the ones fighting directly, so it makes them more of, like, a ha-ha villain leader than, like, ha-ha scary enemy.
So they're, on the hunt for BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah, they're, like, cruising in a convertible.
And they're
mad that he's not listening to them.
In their Mummymobile.
The Mummymobile.
Yeah. Insert Charlie XCX, Let's Ride.
Let's Ride, or whatever. By the time this comes out, her song for the Barbie movie will have probably dropped by now.
Gosh. I have an OC Digimon called Barbiemon.
Oh my god.
She serves.
This Barbie protects the digital world.
She does. Yeah. I based her off of, like, superhero Barbie.
Is she in the movie?
Yeah, she's put by me.
Good. Is she going to see Oppenheimer that day, too?
No.
Okay. She's going to see Barbie movie.
Yeah. So we cut back to the human world, and the Digidestined are talking about how terrifying BlackWarGreymon is, and how they're going to stand up to his power, and, per usual, Gatomon is about that action.
Yep.
She says if he even lays a finger on Kari, she'll put a hole in his head.
Yeah, which, like, damn.
And I was like, work.
Murder.
So, we kind of start off the theme of this episode here, where, for some reason, the boys of the Digidestined kind of pit Kari's compassion versus Yoli's entire personality.
Yeah, Kari's saying she feels kind of bad for BlackWarGreymon.
She feels sorry for BlackWarGreymon because of the reasons that we kind of... I also wonder if WarGreymon is a response to Mewtwo, almost? I wonder if that is, like...
I could see that.
Related. Because I think that Pokemon took off. And Digimon, it wasn't like Digimon was sleeping. Like, it had success here in the West, obviously, because I wouldn't be talking about it 26 years later.
Yeah.
We're recording this on the 26th anniversary of Digimon Adventure.
Aww.
So...
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
You have to get new insurance.
Yeah, you're gonna get dental now.
That means me and Digimon Adventure are almost the exact same age, because I'm 26.
Yeah.
But I've been 26 for a little bit more than a day.
So, we have...
So, they're pitting Kari is sympathetic, and Yoli is like a hothead.
Yeah, well,
who expresses herself.
They're saying that Yoli is annoying.
Yeah, but they specifically say that Yoli, gets in her emotions and expresses them very aggressively and openly without hesitation.
Yeah, my note was for this was, I don't know, just let women live.
Yeah.
Both of them can be great female characters at the same time. We don't need... I have a confession to make.
Safe space.
I love Digimon. This is my favorite season still. I hate this episode. I find both Kari and Yoli to be very annoying in this episode.
And the third person who's in this episode a lot
useless.
Is Ken.
He's useless in this episode.
Yeah, he is.
I'm so tired. It's especially frustrating with later on because the plot threads that they are putting forth don't go anywhere until 15 years later when they decide to bring them back in Digimon Adventure Tri. Uh-huh. But then Yoli and Ken aren't even in Tri. So, who cares? I also
this episode, I remember you were saying, your notes at the end of this episode is cut to this, cut to that. It's a lot of cutting between scenes every 20 seconds.
Oh, I think that's for the next one.
Oh, is it? Oopsie.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
So...
It's not a great episode, so... Maybe we
they go into the digital world. Oh. My next note is that Yoli, they keep trying to paint her as, her expressing her feelings as a negative quality? Almost? Where, I get that Mimi was selfish.
Yeah.
And still a girl boss. We still stand Mimi, and we stand Yoli. Mm-hmm. But Yoli, to me, doesn't really express selfishness. She kind of just has general concerns and, panics. Because, let's not forget, they're fighting a freaking war against Arcanimon and Mummymon, and now they have this nuclear weapon, back to Oppenheimer, BlackWarGreymon. So, she's scared. And they're painting it like she's being selfish because she's not, or she keeps she says the wrong, she, gets too emotional. And I'm like, no.
Which is not the frame. I think there is a framing that would work, which I think Yoli is a terrible listener.
Yeah, Yoli is bad at listening, and she says the wrong things. That is the better point. Not that she isn't too emotional.
Yeah.
I like Yoli because she is too emotional. I find her to be, out of all of the new Digidestined, her, Davis, Cody, and Ken, I find her to be the most relatable.
Yeah, I think
And what also consistently bothers me about the writing of this season in general is that they kind of are inconsistent with the fact that Yo Lee is really smart too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they sometimes make her dumb.
But, well, I think she's like so...
She's very instinctive.
Okay, let me be honest here. Very autism coded, in my opinion. Her and Cody. But I think different extents. I think that Yoli lacks social skills. And that's the point. That's the point that she should be making. That's the point they should be making by giving her the crest of love. Because a lot of the times, especially with this episode, I think they just give Yoli things because she's the girl. She's the new girl. So she had to get Sora and Mimi's crests or whatever. When I think her getting Mimi's makes a lot of sense. But I think she should have gotten... I still think she should have gotten knowledge instead of Cody. I think Cody giving love and reliability...
Yeah.
would be good. And I think Yoli getting knowledge and sincerity would have been interesting. But, what do we know? So, they go into the digital world, and they're in the spooky forest, because of course they are.
Yeah, and it gets spookier.
And it keeps getting spookier. But this spooky forest is where Gatomon lost her tail ring in the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to look for it. Because Gatomon with her tail ring will be much more powerful than without it. Now I wonder if because they don't find her tail ring in this episode.
They don't.
Spoiler alert. But
they kind of just let that wither away.
I wonder if they didn't do that so she could keep digivolving into Nefertimon.
Probably.
I wonder, because otherwise
that's probably a marketing decision. Yeah.
She'd be more powerful as Gatomon. So... Alright, my next note is, we cut back to the real world, where we see Ken and the Gentleman Wormmon. I don't really know what they're doing.
I don't remember either. This episode's stupid.
This episode is very long.
Spoilers, this episode's another Dark Ocean episode.
Yeah.
Which continues to not make sense.
So this spooky forest is connected to the Dark Ocean. So Ken he goes to the digital world, and so he
senses something is wrong.
Yeah, so he meets up with them, and Ken, Kari, and Yoli get trapped into the dark ocean, which
means they turn black and white.
Everything gets the color gets desaturated, and we're walking through this forest, and they keep seeing Davis and TK and Cody and the other Digimon, but they can't. Those guys can't hear them, but they're looking for the girls and Ken. And the whole time, Ken and Kari are very serious, and they're ignoring Yoli, who has no idea what's going on, and is just trying to make conversation, probably because she's nervous.
And they won't explain to her what's going on.
And they won't tell her what's going on.
They won't be like, oh, I hallucinated this thing.
And then when she gets annoyed because they're ignoring her, which they are doing, Ken or Kari is like, I'm not ignoring you. And I'm like, yes, you were.
Yeah.
Don't gaslight her.
They're also, they also just kind of break down and start screaming at different times. The trauma, I guess.
Yeah. So, Yoli thinks she sees Gatomon's tail ring in a, crevice. And she starts to climb down after it. I don't know why Hawkmon, who can fly, or Wormmon, who can climb and has a sticky rope attack.
Yeah.
Can't just go get it, but, we gotta move the plot forward, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, I think it's an example of Yoli, in a well-written series, a well-written episode. I don't want to say this is a poorly written series, I think that there is a lot to go with here. I think the elements of this as a sequel to Digimon Adventure are very interesting. And I wonder if they had planned... I know they do Digimon Adventure Try. I don't like it. I don't care about it. We will eventually review it for the podcast, but I wonder... That's 15 years after this season came out. So, I wonder if they had planned to do Digimon Adventure 3 to kind of clear up, like, maybe they were going to talk about the Dark Ocean then, and then they kind of were like, all right, we want to start new, we want to start fresh, and that's why they have a whole new storyline in Digimon Tamers.
Yeah.
But, anyway, in a better written episode, we would see that this decision to climb down and get what she thinks is the tail ring is based on Yoli's impulsivity, not the fact that she
feels bad for getting mad at Kari and Ken.
Yeah, or we would have more knowledge of that. Like, this episode doesn't want to make... You know what? Let Kari be a bitch. You know? Like, let her be kind of rude. You know what? Let's have Kari be holier than thou. You know, let's have Kari think that she always makes the right moral decisions. You know, let's have Kari have a little bit of maybe a pompousness about her. You know what? Let's make Kari more interesting, please. Because I am so, like, as a longtime fan of Digimon, especially Digimon Adventure, I liked Kari as a kid because I liked Gatomon. But now, as an adult, I'm like, man, Kari sucks. She does very little in the first adventure because, although I think the first adventure is well paced for the most part, she doesn't come in until the ending, which I think is the worst paced part of adventure. And then in this, her and TK should be the leaders, but for some reason it's Davis. And they just keep making her this, like, oh, holy being, Kari. Like, she's got the crest of light, so she must be, like, superior. But they also want us to know that Kari's really nice. Kari's very pretty. And I'm like, let's have her have some flaws that are not... She keeps all of her emotions inside so she doesn't burden everyone else with them, which makes her vulnerable to the darkness. That's such bullshit.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that, like, she and Ken have the same trauma because they're both in the Dark Ocean or whatever. So I don't buy it.
Especially remember when Kari was, like, so powerful in the first adventure that she, like, freed all the Numamon from slavery?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. It's weird to me. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that they gave up the powers of their crests so they could protect the digital world or something.
Maybe.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Long story short, Moimon and Arcanimon see them and send Blossomon to attack them.
I had more to say. So, Yoli slips when she's trying to get the Dark Ring. So Kari goes to grab her. Hawkmon, of course, is trying to get her, and Gatomon's trying to help Kari. And then Ken, because he also is having a panic attack, fails to save the girls. And we cut to a commercial break on Ken holding his head back and shrieking. And I'm like, someone get this man a therapist. Someone get this kid in some therapy.
Yeah, why is he not in therapy if he was just missing for months in the real world?
And that he can't... Remember he didn't remember who his parents were?
Yeah.
He needs to go to a doctor. A therapist. Or something. I don't know. I don't like it. So, Kari and Yoli, of course, luckily land safely. And Yoli has... Kari, again, is really irritating to me. Yoli has a normal reaction to being trapped in an alternate dimension, separate from the alternate dimension that they already are in. Yeah. And then they fall after her friends were kind of being dicks to her. And then she was just trying to help their mission. And then Kari slaps her.
Slap her. Slap her. Slap her.
She does.
Which I think...
And it works.
I think is totally uncalled for, especially if they're trying to paint Kari as someone who always does the right thing and is so kind and gentle and, like, is a being of pure light. Why would Kari's instinct be to slap Yoli? In my opinion, if I was writing this episode, I would have Kari give Yoli a hug.
Yeah.
Because this episode, obviously the theme of this episode is opposites attract, that Kari and Yoli are supposed to be opposites.
Yeah.
So, then we have Kari and Yoli have a talk now, which I think actually this talk is pretty good.
Yeah.
I just wish it was in a better episode, because Kari says that she's actually jealous of how well and easily Yoli expresses her feelings. Mm-hmm. And Kari wishes that she could be like that. But her and Ken apparently keep all of their emotions inside, which makes them vulnerable. And I'm like, okay, I don't think Ken is keeping his emotions inside, because he did just have a panic attack. But I think that that's a good thing for Kari, like, to say. She's like, I have, she should be talking about how she feels like she has to be so serious because she's the most experienced, her and TK are the most experienced.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And also, like, the whole, like, it could be a gendered narrative, too, right? Like, oh, like, girls are called crazy or whatever, they express their feelings and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's another point, too.
And then she's kind of doing that to Yoli.
So, they get out of the crevice, and they find out that what they thought was Gachamon's tail ring was actually an old, broken, dark ring from Ken's time as the Digimon Emperor. Ooh. And then Yoli puts her foot in her mouth, and I love Yoli. I think Yoli is such a fun character. Like I said, she's very relatable. But she keeps talking herself into a hole with Ken. Like, Ken is clearly not doing well. She also clearly still has a crush on him.
Yeah.
So, bisexual icon, happy Pride Month, Yoli. And then, it's annoying. It's annoying. I spent all that time ranting about how annoying I find Kari, and then go ahead and do this to my girl, Yoli. Yeah. It's annoying. Like, all the reasons someone could have to not like Yoli are right in that little moment. So then, Mom and Dad see Kari, Ken, and Yoli kind of fade in and out. Like, they can tell that they're trapped in another dimension. But we'll chalk it up to them being the bad guys, so they have to know more.
Yeah.
And they can't stop to antagonize the Digidestined as they all follow BlackWarGreymon. So she uses her spirit needles to create Blossomon to fight the Digidestined. Do you have thoughts on Blossomon?
We've seen Blossomon before, haven't we?
I think so, maybe once before.
Yeah, scary, but pretty. Funny shaped mouth. Big spiky mouth.
Yeah, very,
the giant flowers.
Very, feed me, Seymour.
It's very feed me, Seymour.
So, they kind of are, Blossomon appears, Gachamon says, guys, I think Big Brother's watching us.
And I was like, oh, Big Brother reference. Julie Chenmon.
Moonbezmon.
Moonbezmon.
Child of God.
Mon.
So, then, Kari starts having a mental breakdown. Because why not? Is this too much to handle? And I'm like, girl, you freed the Numamon from slavery!
Oh my god, not the VeggieTales reference.
And then I was like, you were killed by, what's his name? Apocalypse, and then you were brought back to life, and this overgrown weed is too much for you?
Yeah. This, you get some, what's the bug, the weed killer.
You need some weed killer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You can kick his ass just by going to Home Depot.
We get, another slap heard round the Digiworld from Yoli, but this time, I think Yoli smacking some sense into Kari is very within her character.
Slapper. Slapper. Slapper.
Like Arthur hitting DW.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a connection to Arthur. I'm sorry, everybody. So Kari is like, I'm not strong enough, I can't do this, and Yoli slaps her and says, stop that, you're the strongest girl I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, now kiss. Kiss. So, big light comes down.
It's no big light.
Yeah.
The industry.
The light industry rains down upon Yoli and Kari, and Yoli says something gay.
Yeah, I wrote Sapphic Queen Yoli.
Yeah, Sapphic icon. She says,
Yolisbian.
Yolisbian. She says that, Gatchaman says that the light is beautiful, and Kari says it's beautiful, and Yoli says, just like you, I forgot yours is the crest of light. And I was like, that's so gay. I also realized something, if you, check our Twitter, Yoli is pretty much, her out of the digital world outfit, normal walk around, is the colors of the bi flag.
Oh. Did the bi flag even exist at that point?
I don't know.
Because I know, for a while it was just the rainbow, and then they didn't.
Maybe Yoli inspired the bi flag.
That would be hilarious to find out.
Because her headband is blue. She's got long purple hair, and she's got pink and red clothes. So she's very bi-colored scheme. So they DNA digivolve because
the girls have to be together.
I mean, again, if it was better written, if there was more about how, because you know what it is that, okay, obviously this means spoilers for future episodes. That Cody and TK are going to be Digivolution partners.
Yeah.
Okay, so we set up that Davis and Ken are opposites.
Yeah.
Davis is very outgoing. He's friendly. Ken suffers.
He's kind of dumb.
Ken's a genius. He's not very friendly.
He's actually good at soccer. Davis is pretty good too, I think.
So we established that they're opposites.
Yeah.
And we kind of very flimsily established that Yoli and Kari are opposites, loosely based upon...
I don't agree with the framing device of, everyone who's opposites is gonna DNA digivolve. I don't get why that's a condition.
I mean, okay.
I think it should just be...
Here's what I think it actually is. I think probably in the toy, because obviously Digimon, just like every other kid's cartoon, is a glorified toy commercial, especially from the 80s and 90s era. Aquilamon and Gatchaman digivolve to become Filthymon, who is very based on Kamen Rider, so it's gonna sell toys. And I have a Filthymon toy from this era, in our apartment. So I thought Filthymon was cool, especially because, again, queer icon Yoli, Gatchamon's a girl and Aquilamon is a boy. So they got to combine together to be a girl boy. Because they both talk with the same, they both have the same voices going, so it's Gatchamon's high voice with, Aquilamon!
Here's my thing. I don't think it needed to be set pairs. I don't think it needed to be Ken and Davis are a pair who DNA digivolve, and then we have to justify why Kari and Yoli can DNA digivolve. I feel like they should all just be able to DNA digivolve with each other at the right opportune times. I don't think they need to justify it with Digidestined.
I think that could work for a follow-up, maybe in a sequel season to a Digimon Adventure 3. Maybe that could work. But I think them having a set pairing does work, because we already saw that it worked with Matt and Ty. So we know, Davis and Ken are the Matt and Ty of this season. So I think that them having a set partner works. I know a lot of people want it to be TK and Kari and Cody and Yoli. I think those could also work, but why, I think they would need to have a stronger writing for that. Because we did establish that before there was a throwaway line where Davis says that he doesn't really have any friends. So he makes one in Ken. but it could work. It could be written that like, oh, Cody and Yoli already had a very strong bond, so they're gonna, Hawkmon and Armadillomon can Demon Digivolve together.
I see.
And then obviously that we get a super cool angel from Gatomon and Patamon.
Yeah.
I do think that I prefer to have a intersex icon like Sylphimon.
Yeah.
But so
and Sylphimon kicks Blossomon's ass.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Okay, so what are your thoughts on Sylphimon?
He's cool. It was hard to.
I think we should use they them for Sylphimon.
They're cool. I think they're sandwiched in an episode that doesn't have any really narrative cohesion. So, like, I don't come out of that episode thinking about Sylphimon at all, honestly.
Yeah, which is a bummer because that's
one of 3 reveals.
They're a cool design and they're a cool Digimon.
Yeah.
I like that Gatomon stays about that action in Sylphimon form. Her voice says that they're gonna pluck the overgrown dandelion out, and then Aquilamon's like, I like the way you think, Gatomon.
Yeah, they're fun. It's an exhausting episode.
And so they're reunited with the other Digidestin eventually at the end of the episode. Ken is angsty again for some reason. I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't want to talk about this episode anymore.
And then TK says that he was worried that he almost lost Kari forever this time, and she says, well, you don't have to worry. I don't have to face things alone anymore. Yoli won't let me. Which I think is a great ending to an episode that did not deserve it.
Yeah.
Because I think the moral of 2 girls who are actually opposites coming together, whether it's romantically or just as friends, that ending is a great, where like they become friends, a couple or whatever. It to me it does lean very like, Yoli, she may not be able to get Ken, but she's racking up these women,
Yeah.
But yes, let's move on,
Please.
So episode 32 is called "If I Only Had a Heart," or Mysterious Ruins, Holy Stone in Japanese.
If I Only Had a Heart is a very emo title for a very emo episode.
I think it's actually a Wizard of Oz reference.
I like it.
If I only had a brain, a heart, the nerve.
The cheek, the nerves.
The charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Which the Arukenimon has in spades.
Absolutely.
So, we start off with a recap of that done episode by Yoli. But we really start off with BlackWarGreymon fighting a lot of Digimon.
Which was a surprise to me, because the last episode started with him being ambivalent towards other Digimon. So it was interesting to me that he was like, well, now I'm fighting all these guys.
Well, my thought
he's seeking a challenge.
Is that those Digimon in the forest did not want to fight him. Because if you saw them, they were all like weaker Digimon.
Yeah, they were
we saw your boy, Elecmon, with the babies.
Yeah.
He's not going to fight BlackWarGreymon. But this one, we saw all the defeated Digimon were kind of stronger looking. Like, there was like Monochromon and Tuskmon and all these like scary looking dinosaur Digimon. So my thought is that they probably just stepped to him. What the fuck was that?
I was tapping against the cat. What the fuck was that?
I'm going to take a brief recess and figure out what the heck that was. Okay, we're back.
It was nothing.
Well, it was this guy who parks out his 18-wheeler outside of our apartment, which he's not supposed to do, but,
And then runs it for like an hour at like 3 a.m.
I ain't no stool pigeon, so I'm not going to tell anybody.
I have theories on what happens, but I don't want to say it.
So, BlackWarGreymon fought all these Digimon, kicked their butts. Mom and Dad let's Arukenimon and Mummymon, create a Mammothmon to fight BlackWarGreymon.
A whole bunch of them.
We create a whole herd of Mammothmon.
Yeah.
I like Mammothmon, do you?
Yeah.
I like the design, I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I wish there was I don't know, I may or may not have decided to create a bunch of elephant-themed Digimon based on this fight.
Well, you love elephants.
I love
elephants.
elephants.
I mean, I do too.
So...
And everyone kind of should, I think. If you don't like elephants, you're fatphobic. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is.
The Mammothmon are not... the fight against BlackWarGreymon is not going well for them.
No.
He defeats an entire row, they all charge him, and he defeats, an entire section of them
and they,
one hit.
disintegrate into, particles.
Yeah, because they're Control Spire Digimon.
Yeah.
So, BlackWarGreymon has angst. Arukenimon, she taunts him. In a way that is very mother.
Also, while this happens, BlackWarGreymon turns to the Mammothmon and says, "Over here, boys!" Which I thought was, like, the fruitiest thing that has happened in Digimon yet.
We just had that whole in lesbians moment with Kari and Yoli.
Lesbians aren't fruity, it's different.
That's not true. They're both femme lesbians. That's very fruity. So, Arukenimon taunts BlackWarGreymon in a way that is very mother.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Momimon is goofy, I have it in my notes.
Momimon is goofy about... Well, things are not going well for their Mammothmon, so they take off, and then they talk about the Destiny Stones.
Uh-huh. While Arukenimon does the Anime Boy walking pose.
No, she does the I'm a sassy lady lounging in the passenger seat of the car pose.
Okay. With her arms around her head, basically, is what the pose we're talking about.
So, the Destiny Stones are their first mention of them, and is in this episode.
Yeah.
Arukenimon has a funny joke where Mummymon says that, like, there's a Destiny Stone right near here. It's a perfect spot for two. And Arukenimon goes, "Oh, really? Who are you taking?" No, he says that, after we go destroy the Destiny Stone, I know a nice little romantic spot for two. Then they have the funny bit, because they're hilarious. But Tentomon overhears, he's like, "What is a Destiny Stone?"
Yeah. And then he has to relay the info back to Izzy.
So we cut back to the fight against Mammothmon. This whole episode is cut back here, cut to this, cut to that, cut to that. It's very complicated.
It's very Catwoman playing basketball scene.
I don't know what that is.
You've never seen that? It's from the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry, and it's like her playing basketball using her like Catwoman powers against all the kids in the neighborhood. And it's like supposed to be her like dribbling fast and jumping up.
You know what
it is? It cuts literally like 190 times in like a 75-second scene.
I blocked it from my memory.
Yeah. It's literally like it's anyway, like it's trying to give you a seizure.
Back to BlackWarGreymon has some more angst over what is his purpose. He's like taunting the Mammothmon, and he says something about like, "Oh, tell me, Mammothmon, do you fear me?" Like, Then we cut to the real world, and
Bitch, that's June.
Bitch, that's June.
Bitch, that's June.
Oh my god!
Oh my, we haven't seen June in a hot minute.
No, we have not.
And she is upset about a pimple. Relatable queen.
Well, they do a very cinematic thing where I forget what the exact line is, but BlackWarGreymon says something, and then it's like a close up on his face, and then it cuts to June at the same like close up of her face, and she says the same line, but in like a totally different like tone and context.
What did she say?
I don't remember what the line is, but it's the exact same line.
We'll have to find it.
Yeah,
we'll put it on our Twitter.
Yeah.
So, June is upset about her pimple, relatable queen. Davis, she's like arguing with Davis about how Davis never does anything, play video games, has no thoughts in his head, and how she's stressed about this pimple because Matt will never love her because she has this second head growing on her face or whatever, and then he's totally gonna break up with her, but they aren't really dating. Not yet. And then Davis gets an email to head to the Disney World from Kari. We cut back to BlackWarGreymon again, and he's still fighting the Mammothmon, and he feels compelled to protect a flower that is in the Mammothmon's charging path. And of course he angsts over it. So he protects the flower from Mammothmon crushing it, but Mammothmon kind of just stomps on him.
Yeah.
We cut back to Ken, who is also angsting, and he also gets an email from Kari to head to the digital world. Cut back to BlackWarGreymon. He's angsting. He has destroyed the Mammothmon, and then he angsts over, why do I feel compelled to protect such a weak flower? Yeah. And then he steps in the flower, crushing it.
Yeah. We need to tweet the emojis of flower foot down skull. Because that's what he did. He gets all emo about it. I'm like, I really remember my notes. BlackWarGreymon sounds like he's about to go listen to some My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Which I love. Respect. Respect to a relatable king.
The last episode, Welcome to the BlackWarGreymon.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's what I'll title this episode. So, we cut back to Mom and Dad. They found a Destiny Stone and plan to destroy it. Arukenimon creates Nightmon to destroy the Destiny Stones. Have we seen Nightmon before?
I don't think so.
Do you have any thoughts on
I thought he was cool. I liked his design. I thought he was cool.
His
He had like sharp edges.
Is slightly different in this scene because he is a Control Spire Digimon, I think.
Okay.
Because normally on the back of his shield that he carries on his back, he has the Crest of Hope.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't know why. He's like one of the only Digimon that's not an armor Digimon that has the crest on him.
Right.
So we cut back to BlackWarGreymon, and he runs into Agumon.
Agumon! It's been a minute since we've seen Agumon.
Yeah, Agumon
I love that little guy.
chats up BlackWarGreymon, and then we cut back to the Digidestined who arrive at the Destiny Stone, and they're making jokes.
He's making jokes.
XVmon or Davis says, is anything like a kidney stone? And the Ferdimon is like, I don't think so, Davis, but probably just as painful. Oh.
Why don't you come see me sometime?
So we cut back to Agumon and BlackWarGreymon, and they're talking about what it means to have a heart.
Yeah.
BlackWarGreymon asks where Agumon's heart is, and Agumon, doesn't really know, because he's just a goofy little guy.
Yeah.
And then Agumon says that, hearts, if you have to have friends or something, you should try being someone's friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you care about somebody else, it means that you have heart.
I have a piece of trivia related to this that you might not know about, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was looking earlier for the quote that both June and BlackWarGreymon said at the same time, which is "How I envy you."
Yeah, I'll put it in the pod. Don't worry.
Good. And I found that in the sub or in the original Japanese, the conversation between Momimon and Arukenimon about having a picnic, the whole a spot for two, doesn't happen. Instead, they're discussing with each other whether they think they have hearts, which I actually think is a really compelling.
Ooh.
I think that's really compelling.
That's good.
I think that's a big example of the dub throwing in random jokes instead of them.
I think there's definitely a way that they could have incorporated both topics.
Yeah,
I think they could have been having this debate about the two of them. They think they have hearts, and then Momimon is like, "Oh, I know I have a heart because I feel for you, my sweet Arukenimon."
Yeah,
and then she could be like, "Ugh."
Yeah, that would have been better. I feel like they're dumbing it down for the American audience. I like the idea of them having internal conflict.
Must be maybe they were introduced in the Japanese to kind of answer Team Rocket, but I mean Team Rocket they have pretty tragic backstories and are pretty deep and compelling characters. So
yeah, and they're kind of goofy.
But I think maybe Fox Kids, which is what this originally aired on, really wanted the comedy of Arukenimon and Momimon, maybe.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So I kind of wish they kept that in because I think it would have been a really interesting undercurrent to everything they're doing. Because I think it would have created more of a connection of sympathy between them and BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah, especially, no spoilers for you, but knowing what happens with Arukenimon and Momimon, I think that makes it all the more interesting if they have that conversation. So,
I'm so glad I got to teach you something about Digimon.
Here's the thing. I know a lot of differences between the dub and the sub, especially for Adventure.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about the differences for the other series. So that's going to be fun to learn about.
Yeah.
So we're on our own Digimon adventure.
We are.
Okay, I can't cry.
Yeah, don't do that. We cried enough already today.
I do think that the discussion between Agumon and BlackWarGreymon remains quite poignant.
Oh, totally. It's because BlackWarGreymon BlackWarGreymon is a digivolution of Agumon as well. So it's like a two sides of the same coin type of thing.
Agumon introduces himself to BlackWarGreymon by saying that when I warp Digivolve, I become WarGreymon.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good Agumon impression.
Of course you do.
So
you've been doing it for like 20 years.
They're discussing what do they think makes a heart, and which honestly this is Kingdom Hearts core.
It's Kingdom Hearts core. It's also like, again, very emo. Like I can think of like 2 or 3 different emo songs.
I think it kind of like in a way it's like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah,
in a way, you know.
It's very Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So they cut back to the Digidestined, and they are fighting Arukenimon and Mummymon, who are in their monster forms.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I like to see them in their monster forms. I think they're cool.
I wrote, Arukenimon is one ugly bitch. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There's something we need to mention before we pivoted to this battle. I forget exactly what it was. The BlackWarGreymon said something like, but if I don't have a heart, does that make me a monster? And Agumon says like, well, he's like,
all this stuff, no heart this, no heart that. If my aunt had a mustache, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah, which reminded me of one of my all-time favorite clips on the internet, which is, like, it's like this professional chef and these two, like, morning anchor people in Britain, and they're cooking, like, a souffle or something, and they're like, oh, you know, if you put, like, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and did this to it, like, if you changed, like, everything about it, this could make a great mac and cheese. And the chef, like, throws down the spoon and just stares at them, and he's like, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. Because he's very Italian. And the 2 anchors, like, choke on the food they're eating and, like, just laugh for, like, a minute straight. Because it's true that what they were saying was bogus, and the chef got so offended. Yeah. So Agumon was giving that. Very that.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know. I was like, oh, Agumon, not this in Pride Month.
Yeah, not the gender essentialism.
You know what? Agumon is still an ally.
Yeah, he's learning.
Yeah. So...
But yeah, Arukenimon is one ugly bitch.
Yeah. Things are not going well for the Digidestined against Arukenimon and Mummymon. They're a powerful duo.
Yeah.
So, we cut back to Agumon and BlackWarGreymon.
Uh-huh.
Agumon tells BlackWarGreymon that he can prove he's got a heart by being a friend. And Agumon says that you can start by being my friend. Here, it's customary to shake hands with a new friend.
Yeah.
And I was like... Because I cry every time. Back to the Digidestined. They are losing to Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
But
Davis uses the phrase bust loose, which, if you're a Lucy LaDuca fan...
Insert right here. Let loose.
Let Loose by Lucy LaDuca.
Yeah.
Let loose, I said let loose.
The bop of Gay Pride Month 2023.
Yeah. New Pride anthem.
Padam Padam Who.
Yeah.
Wait, Lucy should cover Padam Padam.
Okay, this ain't about her. Okay. So, the Digidestined are losing to Mom and Dad, but Ken comes to the rescue, and we see Digivolve to Pyodramon and Filthymon. And then we get to see, Nightmon was gonna stomp, or was gonna slice Pegasusmon or something, and then Arukenimon Ankylomon was like,
I think not.
Oh, that sword ain't gonna do nothing against my hard shell. And then he was like, ouch!
Yeah, it's hurting my hard shell.
I guess that my shell ain't as hard as I thought. And
I'm being defeated.
Pyodramon and Sylphimon knock back Nightmon, and then Ankylomon stomps on him and was like, how do you feel? So then we cut back to BlackWarGreymon.
Yeah, we're switching back and forth.
Agumon. Agumon tells BlackWarGreymon he can't throw his heart away until he tries being his friend first. Because BlackWarGreymon says that being a friend is my purpose, I'll just throw away my heart or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to the Digidestined. Mm-hmm. Nightmon breaks the ring around the Destiny Stones. It's a big stone. It
looks like Gachamon's ring.
It's kind of heart-shaped, and it's like a holy ring, like Gachamon and Angelomon have.
It's also like in a giant open field with like grids. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like the data grid.
I like that.
Yeah. So
information highway.
Breaking this ring, we cut back to BlackWarGreymon, and it really affects him.
He pulls a Kanichi Juji.
He
Well, it seems like it caused him physical pain.
Yeah, he starts screaming and holding his head.
Yeah. So he runs to find the Destiny Stone.
Yeah,
and
right before shaking Agumon's
And
off.
Agumon's
they were
like,
gonna seal the deal.
Where are you going? I was gonna make s'mores.
Yeah.
So the kids try to stop him from destroying the Destiny Stone when he rolls up.
Yeah, he rolls up and he's like, this thing hurt me a little.
Okay, I'll pull up.
And so he starts attacking it, which doesn't make sense. To me.
I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way that, if I get rid of it, it won't hurt me anymore.
But it wasn't hurting him until someone attacked it.
But, I mean...
He should attack...
He's in a blind fury,
I guess it's because he's in a blind fury. But he should be attacking Nightmon.
So the kids try to stop him, but he destroys Nightmon. Yeah.
He does, yeah.
But it's no use. He destroys the Destiny Stone, and a huge hurricane happens.
Which, this got me pressed a little bit. It being cracked once made him, writhe and freak out in pain. Him completely obliterating it, completely obliterating it, he has no reaction.
Maybe
Why is that?
It's his destiny to destroy the Destiny Stones. Maybe.
But I still think that's kind of
bogus. But I think it's kind of neat, because this is the first time... Because we saw in the previous adventure that, the bad Digimon weren't really... A lot of them were actually good.
Yeah.
And then we saw that, Ken's not so bad. And then, Gachamon and Wizardmon started off as bad Digimon, and then they wound up being two of the best characters in the whole series, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So then, now we have BlackWarGreymon, who is definitely not a good Digimon. But he isn't also completely evil. He had a very civil conversation with Agumon, and seemed interested in being Agumon's friend. And he protected that flower, even for just a minute. So there's definitely good in him.
Yeah.
So maybe he does have a heart. And maybe Pennymon and Mummymon do too. So that brings us to episode 33, A Chance Encounter, or Miyako in Kyoto today.
And it's called A Chance Encounter because they run into Chance the Rapper.
Yeah. Yeah, big Digimon fan, Chance the Rapper.
I bet he could be.
Yeah.
He's the same age as me.
Yeah.
He could have grown up on Digimon.
So, this episode, because we ended on a cataclysmic event in the last one.
Was it a hurricane or tornado, or both?
It was a cyclone thing.
Big wind.
Big wind. Big wind coming in to take over the digital world.
Big wind trying to shut out these small businesses.
Yeah.
These small breezes.
These small
breezes.
These small Digimon.
I was proud of that one.
Thank you.
No, I was proud of
I'm thanking you.
Oh, okay.
So, this episode feels disconnected. Because, when we were watching it, I legitimately thought that we skipped an episode.
Yeah, it feels out of order.
Which
they've done a couple times this season, so maybe they did just rearrange the order randomly sometimes.
I don't think so.
I'd be interested to see the production order. Because, they all have, production codes or whatever each episode. I wonder if this one...
Let's look it up. I got it right here. Oh, I don't think it gives the production codes, but this is definitely episode 33. So it was intended to air after. Yeah, okay. So, well, it starts off not being very connected. It feels like this episode should start where the last one left off.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It starts with Yoli on a girls' trip to
Kyoto. It's not even a girls' trip.
It's not a girls' trip. It's a class trip.
And she's always wanted to go, or it hasn't been in a long time or something.
Well, I think it's just the class trip, which I know that I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. We do get some screen time for Izzy.
My big question I have right off the bat is, why didn't she bring Poromon?
Because they're friends, I guess. Why didn't?
Why didn't she?
I thought she did.
No, she didn't. She left Poromon with Izzy. So we see that Yoli is in Kyoto, and she writes a little note to, I presume, is Poromon.
Maybe she was getting annoyed by that lady.
Nope. Him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Cut to Izzy and Ken talking. Izzy's talking to Ken about his subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And apparently...
And they have a nerd off.
The subconscious mind is the reason that everybody changes clothes in the digital world.
Yeah. Well, Izzy
Which I liked your theory better of that being their armor.
Yeah.
Like
their armor.
I liked that better.
Thank you.
That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because I'm like, then why do TK and Kari not change clothes?
Yeah.
But they do. Because sometimes when we've seen TK and Kari in like an alternate outfit in the real world, when they go into the digital world, they're in like their regular outfit.
Yeah, but it didn't happen in 0-1, so that doesn't mean in 0-1 like there wasn't. It didn't apply.
And it's not 0-1, it's the first adventure.
Okay.
In the first adventure, they were like transported to the digital world, where in this one they're like freely going in between. Which I honestly prefer. I like that better.
Yeah, I like that better too.
I think it adds,
as opposed to them just being trapped,
adds a layer of not urgency. I think there was a layer of urgency.
I think it makes it more selfless, because in the first one they were basically spending a lot of time like trying to get back home.
Yeah.
Which, like, I get. They're trying to get back home. Their kid. Like, it makes sense. But in
Yeah.
this one, they're actively choosing to go back and protect.
Yeah.
Which is a little different. I like it. Izzy recommends, like, a book about this topic to Ken, and Ken's like, actually, I taught a class on it. And then they kind of just, like...
They have a little nerd out. They nerd about more brain theory.
Yeah.
It's cute and silly.
Do we think Izzy is short for Ezekiel?
No.
Neither do I. Glad we figured that out.
His name is Koshiro Izumi, so it's short for Izumi.
Oh, cool. Okay. Also, we get a Michael sighting. Gay icon Michael.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
So, Izzy drops some lore about International Digidestined, and that's when we get our Michael sighting.
Yes!
Happy Pride Month.
I think we get a Wee Wee Baguette sighting, too.
Well, we see that there may or may not be International Digidestined. There are International Digidestined. Izzy mentions meeting a lot of them. And they are all related to the point when Myotismon invaded the real world king.
Yeah.
I think Myotismon is the best villain in Adventure.
He's pretty cool.
And I love Arukennimon, but I love her more just for, like, that's just kind of silly. So, but Ken can't remember that time. He doesn't remember Myotismon invading, which I find very interesting, because Ken most likely probably would have been rounded up and put in that convention center with the other kids.
Yeah, and also he's got, like, a super brain, so why doesn't his memory work better?
Well, we see that his, like, memory... They needed to do more with that episode of him remembering his brother and remembering that, because he still is, like, my memory is so foggy from that time. And I don't know, it kind of always bothered me that, well, here's the thing.
It feels like a convenient amnesia.
Remember that Ken's backstory with the digital world was explained in a Wonder Swan game, which never came out in America.
Oh, yeah.
So,
like,
we know how Ken is connected with the digital world, but only if you are a super fan and have been a fan for a long time, and it's not at all confusing to just watch this show for a podcast that you're forcing your boyfriend to record with you.
Not forcing.
No, I'm not. I know. I'm just saying to me.
I could take off these handcuffs whenever I want. Just kidding. I'm not handcuffed.
So I don't know why they didn't just explain what Ken was doing at that time, because obviously they were there.
Yeah.
Like, we already heard that Cody and Davis were there, and Yoli too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously TK and Kari. Like,
yeah.
So, Horomon has separation anxiety. And once again, I would like to reiterate, why is he not with Yoli? Like, why did she not take him and hide him in a backpack or something? Like,
I don't know.
they could have had such goofy shenanigans.
Yeah.
So, we get a not so great comment from my boy Izzy here.
Oh.
Ken is like, can I ever atone for my sins as the Digimon Emperor, basically. And Izzy compares his wrong hypotheses to Ken's war crimes.
Moving on.
Yeah, very weird. So, I get your sentiment, Izzy, but not a good look, my dude.
Yeah.
So, Izzy, so then we cut to Yoli in Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
She sees an image of BlackWarGreymon in the sky and kind of freaks out.
Yeah.
This episode's kind of giving that one episode in Digimon Adventure, the first adventure, when Tai goes back to the real world
and he, like, sees Kari for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then he keeps seeing all the Digimon, like, on the news and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, no one else can see them, except
Yeah.
for Kari, because she's Digidestined. So, meanwhile, in the digital world, BlackWarGreymon destroys another Destiny Stone, and then he proceeds to phase kind of in and out of the digital world. So, a beam of light erupts in Kyoto, and Yoli decides to investigate, but she doesn't have Hawkmon, so what's she doing?
Yeah, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, what's she gonna do? So, Yoli sees some shadowy Digimon, but only she can see them,
Including BlackWarGreymon.
including, but they're led
Which-
by BlackWarGreymon.
Why didn't Phoebe Bridgers warn us? She has a song about when she went on tour to Kyoto.
She gets chased. And Apemon breaks rank to run off and cause chaos, I guess. What do you think about Apemon?
Amon, great design. His design is really cool.
Very cool.
I don't get why he sounds German.
Yeah, I don't
He
really get
kind of
it
talks
either.
like the Terminator.
Yeah. So Yoli alerts the Digidestined.
And with an email that she signed off. By the way, having a wonderful time in
Yeah, she
Kyoto,
said,
which I
having
thought
a
was so
wonderful time,
funny.
Yoli. Camp Queen.
Yeah.
So they cut to the other Digidestined, and they're trying to square up to Arukenimon and Mummymon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going well again. No. So we cut back to the real world where
A lot of cutting again.
a film is interrupted by the Digimon's presence.
Which that's like a recurring theme of like people seeing the Digimon first on like camera.
Digital.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. They're going digital.
Again, a lot of parts of the story could only take place in this kind of era between like 1998 and 2002,
Yeah,
where like we weren't really sure about what the internet was.
yeah.
So
After the towers were bombed, before the towers fell.
Yeah.
Laid that up.
no, I mean I think it's an important part of Digimon lore that Mimi was
That's
the
true,
first
she was the first
responder.
Her and Steve Buscemi,
Yeah.
and almost Mark Wahlberg apparently.
So
Mark Wahlberg being like, sorry.
we get it. Mark Wahlberg is from Boston. And you're
No,
from
I don't.
Boston.
I hate Mark Wahlberg. I was gonna make it. Mark Wahlberg is like, me and my friends would have beat those terrorists to death with hammers. I would tell you that much.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said.
Well, he would have had to beat Togemon to it.
Yeah.
So, this filming is interrupted by the Digimon's presence, and the camera guy, we know him.
We do.
Yeah. So, Apemon attacks, and we get a really sick shot of Ken and Stingmon bursting out of a digital gate in the river in the middle of Kyoto.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And with Poromon.
Which they somehow know how to get exactly to.
I think what we're supposed to be seeing here is that BlackWarGreymon destroying the Destiny Stones is really like blurring the lines between the digital and real world.
Okay.
So, Poromon's there now, which he should have been the whole time.
Yeah.
Stingmon subdues Apemon.
Yep.
And brings him back through a gate to the digital world.
And then says the rest is up to you, Yoli.
Yes.
Which Yoli proceeds to not do anything and instead get in a car with strangers.
Well, the camera guy and a professor approach Yoli and ask her about the Digimon.
And she's like, what?
Yoli gets in the car with strange men.
Yep.
But it's okay because it's Joe's brother and Sora's dad.
Yeah. What? Wow.
Which I was like, okay, this time it really is their relatives, unlike in the first adventure when it was Mimi's cousin.
Yeah,
or
I hear
Sora's cousin.
No.
Dwayne.
No.
Yeah.
No, don't want to talk about it.
Jin has changed majors after taking a life-changing class from Sora's father,
Yeah, who teaches folklore.
who teaches folklore and mythology.
Which is a cool thing to teach.
So, we cut back to the digital world, where we see the Stingmon appears and they form Pyodramon.
Yeah.
Back in Kyoto, we get backstory for Sora's dad and a recap of what Jim's been up to.
Yeah. Which part of this thing from Sora's dad implies like a direct connection between the Digimon and like Japanese folklore and like
We're not there
spirituality.
yet. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh.
I'm talking about we learn why Sora's dad wasn't there in the first place. He teaches at a university, which involves a lot of travel and time away from home, but he
and he says that he was worried about Sora and her relationship with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
But, a couple years ago, everything changed, and Sora said she owed it all to her friends, Digimon.
Yeah.
And then Jim recaps how he could have him and his friends would have beat Myotismon with hammers, he can tell you that much. But he decided to let Joe have this one.
Yeah.
So, then we kind of talk about why the Digimon are in Kyoto, and they connect Digimon to animal spirits, which are not raccoons, because raccoons are not native to Japan.
Yeah.
They're actually a very big invasive species in Japan and are not good for the environment.
I believe that.
It's true, because there was a popular anime about raccoons, and so they imported raccoons as pets.
Oh no, that's why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that where Tanukis come from?
No, the Tanuki is a raccoon dog, which are not related. They just kind of look like raccoons.
Okay.
They're a dog.
Okay.
So, Kyoto is the capital of Japan, and it's the capital because it sits in the middle of, 4 cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, 4 temples in each direction, and they all correlate to 4 guardian beasts.
Oh, okay.
I think technically this comes from Chinese folklore, but it was adopted by the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're kind of equating Digimon to yokai and the spirit world, which is taken to a further degree in Digimon Survive, which is a big send-up to adventure. Which I think is kind of interesting. I mean, I definitely feel like, to me, I liked what Sora's dad was saying. I didn't like how in Digimon Survive the Digimon were just yokai or kemonogami.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that Digimon are, yes, based off of mythological creatures, but also exist within the mythological, Y2K era space of the internet.
Yeah.
So, I find that interesting because I think that is such an interesting time as someone who is old enough to have kind of lived through that era and lived through people not really understanding a lot about computers or the internet or in general. I think that is, in itself is quite fantastical.
Yeah.
But I liked that they didn't say that Digimon were yokai or whatever. It was that, the Digimon are kind of based off of our beliefs in yokai. And kind of, because a lot of Digimon's lore within, the Digimon reference book or Digimon cards is this Digimon was discovered on a server in an Arctic exploration base or whatever, and it's like Ikakumon or something.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of find that interesting. But it's time to fight Museumon.
Yeah, and we get to see something really cool.
Well, do you like Museumon?
Yeah.
He's kind of like a good, kind of generic baddie Digimon.
Yeah.
It's not generic. He looks like a samurai.
Yeah. So, of course, he fights Shurimon.
Of course.
Who we get a really cool shot
the
of
Shurimon.
Shurimon.
Of sincerity.
We get a very cool shot of him running across the rooftops in Kyoto. I was like, oh, that's cool.
I do like that Sora's dad says, do you think the Hawkmon will let me interview him?
Yeah.
So, Shurimon and Yoli send Museumon back to the digital world with the help of Jim and Sora's dad.
Yeah.
And they open their laptop, and Yoli opens a portal to the digital world and sends him back.
Yeah.
That's right, once he came. And then we see BlackWarGreymon fade back into the digital world.
So Kyoto is saved.
Kyoto is saved. And we cut back to the digital world, and Arukennimon and Mummymon take off to pursue BlackWarGreymon, leaving the Digidestined to kind of wallow in their defeat. And Yoli joins back up with her class, this time with Poromon, like it should have been from the beginning.
Yeah. And they're like, ooh, cute toy!
And that's the end.
Yeah.
So, overall, I think, I mean, clearly we're setting up almost the end game of this season.
Yeah.
Because we're,
the Destiny Stones.
33 episodes in of a 50-episode season, so I will be honest with you, I like the Destiny Stone stuff a lot more than what comes at the end of the season.
Okay.
I don't hate the end of the season at all. I think that
I'm excited to finally get the lore of the International Digidestin, because I may or may not have made some graphics to put on our Twitter, but I had to wait until we met the International Digidestin
Oh, okay.
for Michael to see them. Michael being this Michael here, not this gay Michael, not the other gay Michael.
Blonde game. That's blonde game.
That's blonde gay. That's tennis club gay Michael.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, what do you have thoughts?
First episode was bad.
Yeah, not my favorite.
Second episode I liked a lot. Third episode I'm kind of on.
Yeah.
Third episode feels like nothing actually really happened.
Well, we
That's
got some
consequence.
kind of interesting
Yeah, the interesting
discussion
link.
about the Digimon and folklore. And,
Yeah. Everything else felt kind of meh.
And I guess what they're trying to say is that maybe Digimon have kind of always existed.
Yeah.
And they kind of moved from being like yokai or spirits to now being these monsters that live on the internet.
Yeah.
Or live in the internet world or some another dimension.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, I'm excited to keep watching with you.
I am too.
I'm really excited to get to some of the end game stuff. It is exciting.
Good.
I am really surprised about the thing you told me about Arcanimon and Mummymon.
Yeah,
with their conversation, if they are to have hearts or not.
I was really excited when I saw that. I was like, content for the pod.
So,
Sar.
I
Little J.
have been Adam.
I've been Michael.
You've been Michael. This has been TwoGaysPod.
On all social media.
We're on Twitter, still just Twitter, but you can follow us there. You can email us at twogayspod@gmail.com. Please send us an email. Maybe I should have checked the email. Maybe someone did send us an email.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have mail time?
Oh my god, a prince in Nigeria wants to sponsor our podcast.
Oh, he's an international digidestined. We didn't get any. Please send me an email.
Yeah.
And we will answer it on the podcast. Or we will, have a little friendly discussion. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can send me us a DM on Twitter. And
We're on Scruff. Just kidding, we're not on
we're
Scruff.
not.
We're not on Scruff.
We aren't on a lot of podcast websites. So
And we're on the second floor of our building.
okay. Anyway,
We love you.
stop her.
Let's go, yo.
Yo, let's go, Jew.
That's better. Good job.
Bye.
Bye. Sure, that's it back too.
Oh yeah.